Hello folks, thanks for watching and welcome back to True Stories with me, Sherry Weens. I hope everybody's having a great beginning of the week, and we're going to start this story off on a survivor story. Now, I did mention that there is a surprise for all of you guys that I have in store. Stay tuned for that in my live feed today, which is going to be between 2:30 and 4:30 Central GMT time. So if you're able to make that, I would love to see you, and stay tuned for that surprise. Okay, so this story is about a survivor named Audrey Mabrey was her maiden name. Okay, so now her name is Audrey May Prosper. Now, back in 2003, she met Chris Haney. He was a New York City detective, and she had been through an abusive relationship before she met him and was very cautious. She did explain to him her past, and he made her feel very comfortable that he would never hurt her and that that was his job to protect people. By November 2009, he was the very person who had destroyed her life and hurt her in almost irreparable ways, but gladly her strength has caused her to persevere through this tragedy. And I wanted to share this story because I thought of it as empowering, and the strength that this woman had to get through something so tragic is inspiring to me, and I really wanted to share that with all of you guys. So Chris made her feel very comfortable, but he was a compulsive liar, and she started to catch on to things that weren't really adding up or making sense anymore. There was very little arguments between them, but she trusted him a lot and therefore gave him the benefit of the doubt. Didn't bother checking on, his whereabouts, I guess, so much. She tested him in the beginning by calling his work to see if he was really an officer in the New York City Police Department, and sure enough he was. So she trusted that from the beginning, and there were some things that sort of came out in their relationship, and one of those things was a gambling habit. Another thing was the compulsive lying, that she had to look through his phone at one point. She had something in her gut tell her, look at his phone, and when she did, she found out he was cheating, and there were many more other lies. Chris was proceeding to tell her that he was a homicide detective and that he needed to be going to the Dominican Republic, and he was going to be, solving a case. He wanted to retire with a clean record of solved cases under his belt. However, she later found out that that Dominican Republic trip was really with a bunch of guy friends and nothing to do with a homicide at all. And she later found out that he wasn't a homicide detective at all. Things started going in a direction where they chose to live apart and raise their children together, splitting custody and whatnot without the courts involved. And she had received, she had sort of gone out to get an apartment and, located herself with her boys. They had 2 children together, and she wanted to maintain having a normal life for them. And, even though it wasn't working with their father, they were still trying to maintain, being cordial with each other. Now, on November 17th, 2009, in Apollo Beach, Florida, she needed something from the house that Chrissy lived in, and she was just going to go down there on her way home. However, that ended up being a crazy interaction once she got there. He was standing there naked with a butcher knife in the home, and he proceeded to just bombard her and rush her. He hit her 4 times in the head with a hammer and sort of dragged her off into the garage kind of thing and made her lay on a blanket, and then proceeded to douse her with gasoline. He lit a candle that she had bought earlier. It was surprisingly enough, she remembers it was a cucumber melon candle, and he lit that and he tossed it at her as if he was tossing her the remote control to change the channel. And she lit on fire and she ran. She tried to put herself out. Luckily, a neighbor saw what was happening and rushed over and helped put out the fire on her body. She said that her skin felt like it was literally melting off of her her bones. And like, how scary, right? Now, she was such a fighter, she decided she wasn't going to let this beat or win her. And she fought her way through surviving that. The neighbor called 911, and she ended up being told to go to put her in the shower, a cool shower, to, you know, maintain a skin not necessarily feeling everything. Then she was transported to the hospital, and it was there that she was put into a 6-week induced coma, mostly to avoid the amount of pain that she was in due to, you know, this psychotic man's behavior. To do something like this to somebody he supposedly loved and watched have 2 of his children, and, you know, he just flat out almost basically tries to kill her. His exact words once the police and paramedics arrived was, "Did I kill the bitch?" I mean, seriously. So now let's fast forward a little bit. She is doing amazing. She's gone through many surgeries that actually one of these nonprofit organizations named Face Forward set her in a direction for another nonprofit organization called Break the Silence. And through these organizations, they offer people, victims of, you know, heinous, violent, disfiguring crimes, they offer them pro bono surgeries to get them sort of back to normal. I feel like that's amazing. The doctors that are doing something like that and giving back to somebody who's had, you know, so much tragedy in their life. I found that to be amazing. Along with the nonprofit organizations that Audrey is a part of, she has created a Facebook page called Your Thrive Tribe. And I found that very interesting and exciting to be a part of. I hope that you guys enjoyed her story as much as I enjoyed telling it. And stay tuned for more survivor stories to come. You know, I asked Audrey, what made you so fearless to go back and look for love again after something so heinous happened to you with someone who you thought you could trust? And her response to me was that she did not want to let him win. She was adamant that she was going to stand at his trial, and she was going to speak of the things that he had done to her and make sure that he never got out of prison. And this man eventually did get sentenced to life in jail, plus 50 years without parole. So he will be spending the rest of his life behind bars. And, you know, he hasn't even ruined her. She is doing amazing. She has started to reach out to other survivors, and, you know, the connection of everyone coming together is empowering and strengthens her. I found it to be enlightening to see so much connection and good-heartedness out there in people. It gives me hope that there's still more good people out there. I thank you guys for watching this story, and if you enjoyed spending time with me, you can subscribe. There's a little red button right below, and there's a bell right beside it if you want to be notified of my posts first. If you enjoyed the video with me, you can give it a like, and if you have any comments to add, maybe you know somebody who's been in something tragic that they've survived from, I'd love to hear the story. I thank you guys for watching, and I thank you for your support, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. We'll see you on the live show from 2:30 to 4:30 today. Bye for now.